So I would like to hand first over to Boo Walker. Boo is for me, an astonishingly creative novelist. Love Boo's books and would just love to hear from you, Boo.
I am if I can do what I have done with Ruth, anybody can. And it's so easy to think I see people like having awakenings and climbing out on the other side, and that's just I don't think I have that ability. It's not in my cards. It really is, and I'm proof of that in a lot of ways. I mean, I'm still a work in progress, but for where I was 4 years ago to now is just such a huge change from just not only like the angst and the desperate need to prove myself, but just the way I am around my family and friends now, and just the way I feel so happy inside and just okay with who I am. There's so many good musicians out there and so many good writers, and there was a point a lot of years of my life where I was comparing myself to them. And even now there's this tiny child inside of me going, what do you don't belong on this screen with these amazing people. But now I do. I'm just happy to be me. And what I've realized is if I just shed all my ego and I just settle into my own essence, that's all I ever need to be. And I'm already there right now. So this all started for me when I was in my teens somewhere. And I won't go into the whys because I really don't know how have the whys, but there was always this desperate need inside for me to prove that I mattered. And I wasn't particularly getting great grades. I wasn't a great athlete in my teens. And I was causing a lot of trouble because I had this rebellious nature and I had all this giant energy and I didn't know where to direct it. And all of a sudden the banjo came into my life. And it was this beautiful release of pure, healthy, like, this is what I'm meant to do. I'm a creative and I had no idea. And all of a sudden, all this energy inside of me found this, vessel. And the problem came that I became so passionate about it that I got pretty good. And then I joined a band and my band got really good. And we left school and we moved to Nashville and we started doing these tours with these big acts. And all of a sudden, the playful joy started to dissipate, and in its place became, well, for one, I moved to Nashville, and I used to be the best banjo player in South Carolina, and now I'm not even the best banjo player on my street. And so all of a sudden, I started to have that kind of fear. And also, it was a matter of 9/11 happened the day my dystonia came about, which is a whole other story. But there was a lot of weird stuff going on in my life. And we were touring and trying to make a living, trying to break through. And somewhere in all that pressure, my right hand just snapped. And it's my neural pathways just stopped communicating and my fine motor skills stopped working. My index finger and middle finger just gave up. And long story short, I spent about 20 years visiting doctors around the world and trying different things, really for about 2 years before I left the band. And then the next 18 taking on various attempts. Meanwhile, I started writing and all of a sudden I found a new healthy way to express myself. And I reconnected with the muse for the first time and it was absolutely wonderful again. But something happened. All of a sudden, I started getting acclaim and doing well and becoming a bestseller. And I started to realize a little bit of fame, I suppose, and people looking at me and me being able to say, you see, I do matter again. Though I don't play banjo and I lost all that, I do matter again. And then it became, okay, I'm top 10 with this new release, but I want to be number one. And then I get to number one and it's still not enough. And I started having an arm issue and it was unbelievable. It was like the two passions in my life were completely killing me. And that time as a novelist, this was 4 years ago, I was a successful novelist and I was paying the bills. My wife was not working, and I had something new in my life, as opposed to stepping on stage at the Grand Ole Opry or in front of Travis Tritt. It was this new world of deadlines. And I just started crumbling under the pressure, and that's what gave me my arm issues. And it very much, I thank goodness through Victor Wooten's video, I saw that Ruth was trying new ways to address these blocks, and she happened to be in Spain while I was living in Spain, and we connected, and we worked so long without the banjo even in my hands. And just now we're starting to play around with the banjo. But what I realized was there were blocks that were so much deeper than the banjo. It wasn't about me fixing my hand ever. It wasn't about that. It was about fixing this piece of me that was sad, and this inner child of me that just wanted to scream, I matter. I need someone to realize that I matter. And all this was just stepping in the way of my flow. And what brain spotting was, and Ruth, please wave your hand if I'm going past time. I'm not really looking at the clock. But as we started working together, I realized, like I said earlier, that I just need to shine my light. And that's plenty. Oscar Wilde says that quote, be yourself, because that's the one thing no one else can be. And we worked through kind of these feelings, and the way we did it without getting into the depths of brain spotting, which I think Ruth's book does wonderfully. She guided me to start feeling into the depths of me. And I saw a video yesterday that was so perfect. I saw Flea talking, the bassist for Red Hot Chili Peppers, speaking about why he quit drugs. And he said, it's because I want to feel the pain, the fear, the excitement. I want to feel every bit of life. And I thought that is essentially brain spotting. It's a meditation on steroids. It's a way of connecting exactly with what hurts inside. And instead of stepping away from it, pushing it away, it's sitting there with it, even when it's slightly or incredibly uncomfortable, and facing it head on and just consuming it and allowing it to be part of you. And this is where I kind of started to realize my my A to B transition is, just grinding so hard. I used to practice longer than everyone. And I always claim, like, I might not be the most talented, but I'm the guy practicing the most on the bus, period. And when I wrote, I'm the guy who's got my butt in the chair when everybody else is going to sleep. And it was almost this like bragging thing. Whereas what I lost is, if we watch Yo-Yo Ma or a wonderful musician who's fully in tune, what I lost is that joy and playfulness. And I started to find that again. And I sat down with the banjo a couple of months ago, and it wasn't from this place of, I want to prove to the people who don't even know I'm a banjo player now. It's been 20 years. I want to prove to all these people that, like, I double matter. I'm a writer and I can play the banjo. Instead of that, I just said to myself, and forgive me, I'm just opening wide open because this is the only way we can heal, Ruth, right? I think I'm not holding back. Instead of that, I just became a student of the banjo again and a student of life again. And instead of trying to fast forward to this place where I'm back on stage, it's much more like, I'm just going to sit here and just be joyful that I have two hands and I can rest this banjo in my lap and I can create some sounds and maybe learn a new tune. And all of a sudden, my hands started working for the first time in 20 years. I could cry thinking about it. And now I'm starting to, and it's the same way with my writing. If I use Ruth's method and I just dive into the deep essence of myself, I'm able to play banjo. I can even turn it on and off, and I can write without any of my ego being in the way. And I can say, as I read your book, it was just such a nice reminder, because I think you capture everything that we've done in such a beautiful way. And I think I'll just read it over and over again and realize and just be reminded, because like I said, I'm a work in progress, and I have some stage things going on. I don't know that I could play perfectly in front of 20,000 people right now, but I know that if I'm sitting in a safe place on my back porch and I just connect and shed my ego and shed my adaptations, I can play better than I ever have and in a really joyful way. And there's no trying at all. It just flows out of me. And the last thing I really wanted to say, which I think has brought this whole thing home, there's that saying that I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. And there's another saying that you can't get out of a problem the same way you got into it. Well, what I'm learning is that damaged inner child in me is what brought about Focal Dystonia. And now I'm playing from a different person. I'm the essence now. I'm not this broken little boy. I'm stepping in as this powerful giant essence that's really not me at all. I'm just plugging into everything. And when I do that, when I plug into the universe, it just flows, and it's really, really easy. And that's what Ruth has done for me, I think. In a nutshell, I could go on for years, but
So thank you, Boo. Thank you so much for sharing.
you got it.